actually trained first as a certified hypnotist, a consulting hypnotist, and I was completely self-taught as a stage hypnotist. And in the early part, I did what any of you would have done, right? I went and caught every show that I could see. I watched every bit of video that I could watch on YouTube, and I was piecing it all together and deconstructing everything. And I got to a point where I had an instinct, which was aptly shared last night, where I was like, okay, just seems like there's a lot of the same stuff out there, and what's going on? So there was this posting forum that I used to like to go and hang out at, and it was a general hypnosis posting forum, but it also had a thread area that was specifically for stage hypnotists. And I thought, well, clearly, I'm a noob, I'm green. I need to go ask the people that have been doing this for a long time. So I go to the posting forum, and I create this post called "The Future of Stage Hypnotism?" And I say, what's next? What's going on? How is stage hypnotism going to evolve? Because I don't want to sound disrespectful. I'm new to the industry, but I need to tell you that when I have gone around, it seems like there's a certain, there's an archetype for stage hypnotism, right? It's you're hot, you're cold, get up and dance, forget your name. So I just say, I just want to know, what are people doing to push this envelope? Where are we going? How's it going to evolve over the next 10, 20 years? And the silence was deafening. Literally, nobody answered my thread for 36 hours, which, in the internet world is an eternity. And all of the other threads that were there, they were time-coded. I could watch them get picked up and engaged and answered. So I'm watching all the other threads just go along and proceed, and community talking and chat, and mine just sort of sitting in the corner and being lonely. And then finally, a day and a half later, someone answered. And I'll paraphrase what they said. They said, well, there's a tradition in stage hypnotism, much like magic, and people come to a stage show expecting to see certain things, And so part of our job is to meet that expectation. It's true, right? It is true. Well, one of the things I want you to understand today, I have a tendency to get excited about what I do, and sometimes I talk like what I say is just the way it is. And I don't mean that. I think it's really important. One of my big life rules is to constantly, for myself, question whether I'm looking for truth with a capital T, or whether I'm finding a truth with a small t that works for me, for my context. And I want you, while I spend time with you today, to understand that multiple truths exist simultaneously, right? So yes, what that answer said was absolutely true, but it's not true with a big T, and we gotta be careful about that stuff. And I didn't want to get in a fight with anyone, so I said, okay, I hear you, and I left it at that. And then once one person went, then the next person jumped on. 20 push-ups, guys. So then the next person gets on, and they say, well, I think it's important to be culturally current. So every few months, I go and I update my music, and I look at what characters are more popular, and I shift the content and the organization of my show to reflect what is pop culture current. Again, absolutely true, but not true, right? It still didn't answer the question. Nobody ever answered the question on that thread. No one went there. And so I had to just sort of let it go. I was already asking. I didn't have the answer. I was pretty disappointed. And 3 days into it, the message thing had an ability for you to send private messages to people. And I get this private message. And it's from a guy who says to me, he goes, hey, I'm really grateful that you asked that question, because I've been wondering the same thing. And no matter what posting forum I go to, I can't find anyone who's answering that, who's addressing it. And I don't have the answers, but I think it's a really important question. So thanks for asking it. And I was like, well, at least that's something. At least I'm not totally alone in the world thinking about this work, right?